Hello everybody, CritCrab here with another story, this one about a player who met a DM from our very own Discord server, only for it to become a horror story. This whole concept actually sounds really interesting and I can't wait to get into this, but before I tell you about that RPG world, let me tell you about this one. Prepare to go on an epic adventure with your friends in Grim Hollow, a new campaign setting for D&D 5e. If you're into grimdark fantasy with heavy gothic influence, you will love this. Expanded game mechanics like bleeding and grievous wounds like concussion and lacerations add so much more realism and will make even the most experienced players shake in their boots, reminding players of all levels that no matter how many hit points they have, in this world, they're never truly safe. Far more than just a map, it's truly its own living, breathing world complete with factions, NPCs, and even a complete and expertly crafted storyline that all come together to place this setting in a league of its own. On top of that, the artwork is absolutely beautiful, and it plays off of the gothic, grimdark feel of the setting amazingly. The images alone are just fun to look at. To me, it feels like the ultimate grimdark setting for 5e, and from what I've seen, I highly doubt it will be topped anytime soon. All that and more await in Grim Hollow. The PDF is available now in the description, but this is also your very last chance to pre-order the physical copy. So click the link in the description and prepare to immerse yourself in the world of grimdark fantasy. That aside, roll post. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. So I was hanging out in CritCrab's fireplace voice chat, whether anyone was there or not. At one point, someone joined and was asking for help with creating a boss for their campaign. I respect those who look for creative assistance when they need it, so I offered help as well as someone else and we were listened to. I don't remember how it happened anymore, but I joined his campaign. He said it was a World War II campaign with magic. I and someone else said in VC that the campaign sounded a lot like the world of the anime The Saga of Tanya the Evil, but he said that he wasn't aware of it. Additionally, I found that there were also interesting ways to interpret religions. Priests did exist, but they didn't have cleric character classes, and there weren't holy spirits or healing magic. They were just con artists effectively. There weren't tieflings either. However, there were demons that were mechanically tieflings. I like that race, so that was fine. Plus, altering it made them even more interesting in my opinion. So first it was deciding what religion my demon would be from, which would decide a bunch of things. I chose Zoroastrianism, the primary parent religion that Abramism plagiarized and twisted. The DM liked that and seemed pretty excited by my choice. He taught me a little about how he was interpreting it, which meant that my character didn't have a physical body, but was instead a negative trait of the human mind. But for game purposes, it would be a shadow on the ground, because there was no physical body, physical attacks wouldn't mean anything, and the only things that could kill my character were holy or unholy element attacks from any religion. I think that was a mutual choice. I know I suggested it, but he might have been thinking it too. I chose my demon type as ignorant conviction, meaning that if my character died, then no one could be zealous or do anything at all without the scientific method first supporting every action before it could be followed through. He agreed. I also asked if I could have some equipment of my own design, being shadows that slightly altered my shadow's natural shape under specific circumstances. Look like gently swaying tree branches instead of a monstrous humanoid if outdoors in natural daylight and when not moving. The other was a glowing infernal brand that would appear on the foreheads of individuals that my character turned into warlocks upon gaining that character class, but it would disappear immediately after. My character was a fighter, level 1. The primary and only attack at my time was its own shadows that would cut like a bladed wind, which counted as a claw attack. However, the tiefling's dark vision and other racial powers would have to be sacrificed temporarily to turn someone into a warlock. I actually wrote out the contract one night, pointing out how the NPC is supposed to interpret it and how my character interprets it. So the NPCs are very much taken advantage of in a subtle but will-stealing manner. We've all dealt with contracts like that. Why shouldn't a chaotic evil, incorporeal ancient demon do the same thing? The DM said that in order to get my character's sacrificed abilities back, the warlock I used a power to make would have to die. So if Dark Vision was sacrificed, then my character would not get it back until that NPC died. However, my character could also absorb their souls upon death, but only to certain degrees. Dark Vision equals 1 Warlock. Level 1 Warlock has X cantrips and spells, but only 1 ability or stat point would be gained. I suggested instead of a full stat point, we just use Zelda heart container rules, so multiple levels worth of contracted mortals had to be consumed for a stat bonus. The DM agreed. You've stuck with me this long. Let's get to the character's name. I don't remember what it was, mostly because it was the first point of contention with the DM. He wanted the name to be written in the native language of the first Zoroastrians, and said the same. I refused to learn another real-life alphabet language and translate them into English just for my character's name. My sheet is still on D&D Beyond, but Anyway, we started playing on a non-session day so I could get caught up and meet up with the party. I rolled for stats and one of them was pretty low, but I was fine with that. Weaknesses make for better characters, I say. I chose to put the worst stat into Constitution since it was almost immune to every attack anyway. The DM said that there had to be a reason, something in the backstory, so we came up with Arhimon, the Lucifer origin, retired from the original concept of hell. I forgot its name. And that weakened all Zoroastrian demons. In order to gain its power back, my character would warlock people and then absorb their souls. I wanted my character to be smart and dexterous. From this point on, I'm referring to my character as me, or I, for ease of following along, plus some hopefully obvious out-of-character stuff. Anyway, so the in-character began by being summoned by... I never looked into it. Nazis, maybe? I don't know. But someone there said they summoned me to find some sort of cult. Out of character, a firearm company specializing in handguns that can kill gods. Since I'm the demon of ignorant conviction, I wasn't really listening and they just decided they were looking for a horse. Out of character, colt is the male term for pony. They tried, through magical means, to show me a revolver, but I wasn't listening, so I only heard revolver as something that spins. They showed me a box that the magic Colt revolver was kept in and demanded that I pay attention, which didn't work. So you summoned me to find a spinning horse in a box. Got it. I killed someone keeping me in the magic circle and got away. A party member that I haven't joined yet saw a large scary shadow speed along the sand. I began seeking out a large concentration of ignorant conviction, being a Nazi concentration camp on the African continent near the northwestern shore. I'm only a creepy shadow, nothing to see here. So I targeted the head guy because you should always kill a potential boss that isn't paying attention. If they are paying attention, disarray first, then make use of the chaos. The guy didn't go down in one hit, so he fired his shotgun loaded with rock salt, doing enough damage that I was dead. That's when I found out that I don't die, I just dissipate and death saves are used to reform at full health. I reformed, chased him down, killed him, and then killed someone else that was nearby. Then went berserk in a barracks full of sleeping soldiers. A shadow at night succeeding in stealth criticals works really well, up until I failed the roll and people started waking up. Only one survived long enough for me to coerce him to sign the contract or die. So I made my first warlock and sacrificed, you guessed it, Dark Vision. I suggested that Warlock just run the camp, eating all the best food and drinks out of the officer's lounge with wild abandon. Because why not? You deserve it. Let no one dissuade you. Good lesson from the demon of being full of yourself without restraint. The DM said that I needed to give him an arcane focus, an item of some kind, so I chose the salt shotgun. I tricked my warlock into telling me about the zombies and such so I could deal with it, so that my actions would encourage his belief in his misinterpretation of the contract details. It was the boss I helped the DM write and the ghost of a necromancer, the 10th level spore druid. I defeated him and he submitted. and I got a nat 20, but was told that I couldn't warlock a ghost. So instead I absorbed his soul. The DM decided this on his own. I got all of his spells for myself, so I could now make way more warlocks. Another player wanted to play too before game night came, and so it was decided that I would go back to her character for some reason, and we tried really hard to force reality on. But whatever, it's RP, so it's fine. So the Changeling Druid and the Demon Fighter traveled together across the African plains, finding exceedingly primitive humans. I stayed in the Changeling's shadow, just being a dick. The villagers seemed like they were going to attack the Changeling, so I cast lightning, killing some people. And the survivors thought that the Changeling was a god. Remember, I'm just a shadow, so the Changeling is what people focus on. And tried sacrificing some children to her. I thought it was funny, but she disagreed, so instead I tried getting her to agree to take them adventuring instead so I could warlock them when no one was looking. But since when would a fae agree to do that? The DM forced her into accepting this boy and girl anyway. At some point, a party member asked my character about my own mission, to which I brought up the spinning horse in a box. The other party member interpreted spinning horse in a box as a mechanical music box that had, instead of a porcelain ballerina, a prancing pony. That made sense. So I wasn't looking for a god-killing pistol, but a music box with a horsey figurine. Hey, I'm the demon of intentionally ignoring details unless it supports my preconceived notions. You now know the fun I was having and why I stayed so long. 2 scheduled sessions and various one-on-one or 2-on-2 plays over the course of 2 weeks. Now we're getting into bad DM territory. Let's see why I rage quit. A player was busy during game night when it came up, and the DM's rules state that your character dies if you don't show up for 2 sessions. So the DM wanted to get him caught up, but he wanted to say that the character was present for the villager fiasco and other traveling things that had gone on since then. I argued without budging that retroactively adding someone else to an already written sequence of events would change those events and other decisions would have been made, and to just use hand-wavium to say that we're all in the same place. He also had me roll things that he didn't say what they were for, but when I found out he was using my rolls in a PvP thing of me killing another player without that player having been made aware of it or even being online, yeah, I was like, no. So we're all at the place doing the thing, because every other option is, and I think everyone else will agree with me here, shut up. The DM had the boy and girl followers of our still duo hunt in a town for sacrifices for the fairy they thought was a god masquerading as a human, and got arrested and were involved in that by proxy. I revealed myself to the boy, but he was obstinate, so I let him be executed. The girl, on the other hand, accepted the contract, and I used the cell key as her arcane focus, which also got her out of prison. She escaped, survived, leveled up even, but the DM kept rolling fight after fight for her until she was eaten by a hyena. Plus, 2 levels worth of mortal soul at least. That's also when the Nazi commander got killed by his own men, I think, for being a glutton. I suggested the soul power be plus 0.1 towards a stat instead of a full point, or even like a quarter point like Zelda's heart containers, and the DM agreed. At some point during a non-session day, the DM said something about every week a player dies, which I guess just meant inactivity or bad playing or something. I found out that he meant he permanently lost players on a weekly basis. I asked if he had anyone that stayed with him for a long time. Like, some of my players have been online in my games for more than 17 years. And he said he doesn't have anyone that's lasted. At some point, the party stopped at some inns and for dinner. I followed. I whispered sweet nothings into the bartender's ear. Things like, hey, you see that guy over there? You should rub your butt on the rim of his water glass. And, that dude you keep messing with? He could really use a pube tied around one of his fork tines. I was trying to get into a bar fight. Going so some people would be killed, some would be desperate for an edge, and some would just be desperate to survive being stabbed with a broken bottle. Good candidates for warlocking. And by having more warlocks, we would have more magically enhanced shock troops for taking down more Nazis. Instead, the party member I tortured on purpose just left the bar and went to the inn to cry himself to sleep due to hunger and humiliation. My contract says that the warlock's thoughts are mine to control and that they submit mentally to my whims. With 3 warlocks and a tank that wasn't stolen, because the driver and base commander were both my warlocks, we headed towards a cultist camp that the Fae told me about. However, on the way out of the base defense, the 3 men decided to sexually harass the female player's female character. I thought it was other soldiers and didn't say anything just yet because I didn't realize the DM was using my own mind-controlled PCs. Side note, heroism isn't always defending others, but letting them defend themselves. You only step in when your help would be welcome, no matter how hard that is to do. Luckily, this player doesn't need my help. When I got to the cultist camp in the tank, the whole place was already ready for me. The tank cannon missed, my warlock spells missed, and I had to get out of the tank's shadow and attack in melee myself to get anywhere. However, the cultists used some unholy blood bolt smoke attack, I know AD&D 2E, and I'm only just starting to get into 5E, which almost killed me with a validly lethal attack element in one hit. So I tried to flee back to the tank that I was a couple feet from, but everyone in the entire camp got attacks of opportunity with ranged magic, so I went down. Not all unholy attacks, I wasn't told. When I came to, I was in another magic circle surrounded by my own warlocks and some dude with an angel blade. He demanded I sign a contract even more aggressive than my own to Lucifer, making me an NPC. I refused. There were a lot of players in voice chat all suggesting things I could do. I tried asking if I could run or fight, but I was told no. A player suggested casting any of my offense, defense, or distraction spells, but I was told the circle was anti-magic. I tried using persuasion, deception, and or intimidation, which I wasn't allowed to even roll for. The DM said that the contract is magically binding and can't be gotten out of once signed. A player suggested writing a fake name, but they were told I couldn't because they would know. A player suggested in PM that I extend a warlock soul and not my own to sign the contract, but I was told no to that too. I did everything I could think of, and everything any of the half-dozen other players could think of, but everything was denied. So I told the DM to just roleplay my character for me then, since there's clearly only one thing I can do and none of us can figure out what it is. I said that I play role-playing games because I can have some control over my character's actions. Since I'm a permanently disabled, asexual, autistic, schizophrenic wheelchair user with PTSD, anxiety disorder, severe stroke risk, and that who blacks out every time I eat and has no friends or family, then if my character is exactly as screwed as I am, then there is no reason to play. He made it very clear that the only way out was to become an NPC. I even tried arguing that my warlocks were essentially mechanically possessed by me and couldn't be possessed by another demon too, and that they should free me. But he didn't listen to that either. So, since there was nothing I could do no matter what it was, I just left the Discord server. I was told later about half the players left at the same time. Furthermore, I was told that my character died defenselessly to the dude with the angel blade. I thought with Craig's stories and other sagas, CritCrab's followers would be better DMs. I guess some people don't take these videos as warnings, but inspirations. Good news is that one of the other players is also a DM, and I was welcomed into her group. My new character is an artificer with a name I came up with for comedy relief, Bimble Squiresbane, that makes half treasure chest, half spiders. One of them is a refrigerator that bites purse snatchers thanks to chill metal and glyph of warding. And the other is a planter that likes to lick monsters thanks to daylight and thorn whip. Hey, if Warforged is a new race, why can't I craft tinker mimics? Thanks again to CritCrab, who came down to us from above. Just look up and you can see the constellation of a crab. Everyone loves cancer blessing their lives. Wait, no, end post. Come on. There's really not a whole lot of new ground I can break here, but there is something that was said in this story that caught my attention. And that is that some people don't take these videos as warning, but as inspiration. My sort of idea behind these videos was for people to watch these videos, take the good, and learn from the bad. Because, especially when I showed up on the platform, a lot of people were talking about what to do, what would be good, but very few people were talking about what not to do or what would be bad. It's one thing to be a railroader or a Craig because you don't know any better or you haven't been taught any better, but it's a whole nother thing to see how these bad DMs behave and operate, and choose to emulate that behavior. I don't know, maybe it's like a copycat killer thing, but instead of doing something important like murder, you just choose to be a Craig on game night. Thank you so much to Viren for sharing your story, and as always, if you enjoyed this video, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more stories just like this one. Till next time.